Hello, my name is Alec Dorr. I am 20 years old. I am currently a sophomore at Michigan State University. I am pursuing a Bachelor of Fine Arts in acting. Um, I am actually from East Lansing, Michigan. I was born in Lansing. Um, what is it like here? It's definitely busy. It's a college town, so I had the unique experience of going to high school, but then also kind of getting that university college student experience at the same time. Um, it's it's fun. I love the fact that I grew up here. It's a little weird going to college in the same town that you grew up in, but I mean, it has its pros and cons. My family's still here, so it's really nice to be able to see them. And I'm the oldest. I have five younger siblings, so it's important to me to be able to be a part of their life still. And it actually goes right into one of the best days, if not the best day of my life, was the day that my first sibling was born. And that's because I actually came from a teen pregnancy. Uh, so my mom and dad did not have children for a very long time after I was born. And they didn't stay together, and they ended up having children with, their own respective marriages. But I was an only child for a long period of time, and I just I remember when, from my mom telling me that she was gonna have my brother for the first time. I got overwhelmed, but in a good way, overwhelmed with joy. It's when you're an only child. I think you live for yourself a lot. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but when I held that little guy for the first time, I was 9 years old, and I just realized that I had a completely new responsibility as an older brother because you, well, as the oldest sibling, you're in a leadership position, and whether you use that for good or bad, that's up to you. And I kind of always loved being in those positions to be able to, lead people or guide people or help people. And finally, I had someone to, just help them learn from my experiences. I realized from that point on that my actions, my decisions, they had new weight. Um, if I made a poor decision, that's gonna reflect on me and then go back to my younger siblings, and they might learn from that. Or if I make a mistake, I want to make sure that I learn from it so that I can pass that knowledge on, so that maybe they don't have to make those same mistakes. It it's just always about being there for people. And I just, as soon as I had younger siblings, I realized that I had to be a lot more conscious about my actions because I'm probably one of the first role models that they will ever have in their life. And me being an only child for so long, having no older siblings, I didn't really have a super close in age or a very good relationship with anyone that I could have that sort of role model situation. So I think because of that, you know it, it made me want to be that for someone. And I just remember my grandma called me and said that my mom was going in to have my little brother, and she picked picked me up from school. It was May 18th. I'm trying to remember the year. I have so many of them, you kind of get a little worried about the ages, but she came and picked me up from school, and by the time I got there, he was already born. Um, I remember going in there, and at 9 years old, you're still pretty young yourself, but I was pretty self-aware, and it was one of the most incredible feelings to hold. I mean, it's an incredible feeling to hold a child in general. Babies they're beautiful, but it just meant so much more when it's your little brother. That this kid's gonna someday look up to you and want to beat you or see themselves in you. And that was it was a life changing moment for me. I experienced feelings that day that I never had before, and I may never have again. And I'm forever grateful for it. And now he's a little grown up. I mean, he's in middle school, so it's cool. He's starting to become his own little person, his little young adult. It's really cool to watch them grow up and to be able to be there as a guiding factor, um, as a mentor. It's awesome when I get a little phone call or text, wanting some advice, or I hear about his first school dance or something like that. I just love. I love hearing about the experiences that I went through that I didn't really have anyone to share with. I didn't have. I mean, I could tell my parents, and I had a very good relationship with my mother, so I'd tell her a lot. But it's a lot different when you can talk to like a brother. And so when he was born, it was just incredible. I felt a whole new responsibility, a whole new reason for living, and just it was incredible. Um, as far as a really dark time in my life, I would probably say I've experienced that in probably the last year and a half or so. When I well, so I've always done pretty well in school, and growing up, I didn't have a super great relationship with my father. My parents were separated. I didn't see him a whole lot, and when I did, it was a lot of just like lectures. Do this, do that. This is right. This is wrong, and we never ever connected on that emotional level. And I guess as I got older, once I was graduating high school, I kind of thought that maybe, just maybe, me getting becoming more mature, me growing up into an adult would kind of make us a little bit more equal, and he would start to see me as someone he could respect. And I got to college, and my whole life it was always, hey, you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, you should be this, that. You're really intelligent, you do super well in school. And when you're young, I mean, your family influences you probably more than anyone, and then it kind of switches to your friends. But I mean, I'm smart enough to not, you know, let my friends dictate what I'm going to do in life. So my family's opinions were the most important to me. And so I came into school, yeah, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to do this. I've been told this my whole life. And I don't know, I got to school, I was doing well in my classes, but there was just no passion, and I hated going to class. Because I mean, I could do the things that they wanted me to do. I could learn it. It was just like, I was like, what is the point? What do I love this? No. Do I want to do this? No. I just felt like I was living for myself, or I mean, living for others, not living for myself. And I just went through a really hard stretch, and so instead of minoring in acting, I decided, you know what, I love it. It's what I want to do. So I made that switch, completely dropped pre-med, um, and just realized that, I'm going to do something that I love. And, normally you would think that your family's going to receive that well, and that they're going to be in your side, be in your corner. And, I probably should have known, but my father was not for that at all. And to say that we had a bad relationship before this happened wouldn't really justify what occurred afterwards. We just had a very big falling out. We don't talk anymore at all. I haven't talked to him for months. And a lot of my family will say, don't let his opinion affect you. But as a son, especially as a son that has never really been able to connect with his father on an emotional level, a lot of what you do is to make him proud. You seek that emotional approval, that affection, even though it's very, very little that he can show. And as soon as I made that decision, it just flew out the window, and it just kind of started a snowball effect of things. I was doing what I love, but just to not be able to talk to your father just started a lot of family issues. I started to kind of blame myself for a lot of things that began to happen between my family, and that sucks. I think I put a lot more pressure on myself after that, and of course it drives me. It's a great motivating and determining, something that builds into my determination. But just started feeling really bad, really bad about myself, and I think I just internalized everything that happened and just put that blame on me, and it just really, really started to mess with me, I think. And since then I've been clinically diagnosed with depression, diagnosed with anxiety, and it led to pretty much the scariest day of my life. I don't really want to go into a whole lot of detail on a video like this, just because it's a very, very personal subject matter, and I'd be more than willing to talk about it in person. But to say the least, I was very, very close to making a very, very poor decision. I would say about maybe 2 months ago. A decision that I put myself in the situation to make it very easy to do that, if that makes sense. And I have never, experienced that magnitude of a situation before. And I've never, I didn't talk about how I felt a lot through that time leading up, because people have always had these high expectations for me and believe that I could do anything. And because of that, when you start to doubt yourself and doubt the things that are going on in life, you tend to keep that to yourself. And so I didn't talk to a whole lot of people about it, but it was a scary day, and but I do believe that everything happens for a reason, and through that, man, you really, really, really do realize that you have people who love you, who care about you, and so that was all in all, I think good came out of it. I learned to, my best friends became lifelong friends after that day, um, because it meant more. They were there for me in the darkest time of my life, and they got me through some very hard stuff. And my family, my mom, my grandma, it just brought me closer to all those people because I could finally be open about how I've been feeling for the past year and a half, and it's a good thing, you know. And I have this tattoo. It the meaning I created for it when I got it was beauty within everything, and that's exactly how I look at that situation. It was the darkest and scariest day of my life, time of my life. Something that could have led to the end, especially on a very specific day, and it didn't. And since then, I've gotten medication for depression and anxiety, and I've become so much closer with my friends and my mom, which I never even thought we could get closer because we've always had a wonderful relationship. And it's relieving. It was a weight lifted. I no longer have to keep everything to myself. So there's beauty within everything. In your darkest times, you can always find light, and I think that's what I got from that. But yeah, and sorry, I don't mean to make it a sad story. It's just you know I can't make up something that was the darkest point of my life. I gotta actually believe it was the darkest point of my life, and that incident, the whole situation, everything about it, definitely was. But as far as what am I afraid of? Well, on a surface level, I would say, like I'm afraid of spiders. I'm terrified of spiders. I can't stand them. Like they're creepy. I'm always scared I'm gonna get bit. You know, but I never kill them. I always pick them up, take them outside if I can. Not with my hands, but with like a cloth or something. But that like I said, that's a very surface level thing. I think, but the real biggest fear that I have, I think about a lot, and I just think a lot of young people probably think about this, and I know I'm not alone in this, and especially at 20 years old, I'm sure this crosses everyone's mind. It's just, you grow up with all these expectations. You grow up with people thinking you can do great things, and I make a decision to switch a whole career path. I guess my biggest fear in life is just that I won't be in a position to do the things that I love to do or make, a positive impact on somebody's life. Or, with something like acting, it's an art form. It's something you create. And with art, I think the best thing about it is that, whether it's a song, whether it's a movie, whether it's a picture, art connects with people. It makes people feel certain ways. And I knew when I was growing up that when I, watched an intense scene of a movie, or if or a riveting performance, or if I listened to a song that just it connected with me more than anything right at that moment. I'd get these little goosebumps, and it would just be for a second, and it would just kind of shock you and just give you like that just crazy feeling that that person created for you. And me now being an artist, I think the thing that I love the most about it is that you can create things for people that can make them feel so many different ways. You do your best to put forth something because it makes people feel something when they watch it or see it. And I want to do what those people did for me in the past, making me feel something just deep inside, something that I can relate to or connect to. You never know if something's going to push someone to keep going, or if it's going to enlighten them or inspire them, or maybe someone's sad and you give them a feeling that maybe is sad, but it's a good sad. It's something that gets them through that. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to change people's lives. And I guess my biggest fear is that I'll never ever be able to get to a point where I can do that. In this kind of industry, in this kind of career path, a lot of people can get washed up. They can lose motivation very quickly. You see a lot of rejection. And I guess every day I probably think, am I ever going to be able to make the stuff that I want to make? Am I ever going to be able to do the things I want to do? And, am I going to live up to not the expectations of others, but the expectations that I have for myself? Because, for me, I feel like I am my own biggest critic. And I think that's important because it helps you face rejection and critique out there in the real world. But because of that, I guess I just, every single day, I wonder if I'm going to reach the point in my life that I want to reach, that I set for myself. Because I feel like I can do things, but will I have that chance? Will I have that opportunity? It's a very, very terrifying thing. Something that scares me every day, but I think it's important to have fears, even though usually people would say that fears are negative. I think you have to have them. I think having that fear, as long as it doesn't overcome you and you don't allow it to do more to you than what it should, it can push you. It can motivate you. It can keep you going, And so no matter what, I'm glad that I have it. I'm glad that I'm aware of it. I'm glad that I am not ignorant enough to look past it. But thank you for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time. And I hope the process of this film continues in a great way. Thank you.